Hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of Van Life Conversion. We are moving along very well right now. Very well, I might say. We got our battery. This is our auxiliary battery for the power for the inside of this van. How this is going to work is we're going to run a line for power from the alternator to this, so that as we drive, it charges this battery. We also have a 400 watt power inverter. This is going to be powering everything in the van, from my PC to the fridge and the water pump. So that's what's going to be powering everything on the inside of the van. We are at the stage where I'm going to start putting the framing for the walls in. So we've got the inside of the van framed out. I've built all the frames. These are the frames here. What I'm going to do is actually, just like the flooring, the base of the floor, using construction adhesive, I'm going to glue and screw the framing of the walls in. And then once they're in, I can start putting our siding on, and I'll show you what we're using for that. I saved a bit of money here. My dad actually said out in this shop was some flooring that they had used in the house, and so he said you can have it. So I now own this. This is going to go on the walls of the inside of this conversion. So as we get the framing in, this is going to be built along the inside of the wall as our primary wall. So this is going on the outside of the frame. Let's put it that way. So how this is going to work is we have our frames here that will be glued and screwed to the inside of the van. And then the flooring is going to be cut to go along the sides of that in pieces, stretched along the inside of the van on both sides. The flooring is going to be built just like a normal floor would, but vertically instead of horizontally along the ground. It'll be built up vertically, going along the inside of the van, building our wall. So before all of that goes in, I've got to do all the framing and all of that. So we're gonna get to work here, and it should be pretty fun. Okay, so before I do the walls, I've actually got to do the headliner. And in order to do that, it's a bit of a process. It kind of sucks, if I'm being honest. There are these rails down the middle of the van that are actually glued to the top. They build the top frame of the van. They're essentially support. Now these rails actually go here, if you can see that. The rails go along the inside of this van. So essentially what has to happen is I have to cut a 2-inch strip to fit down the middle of this rail, and then put the rail back in the ceiling. The 2-inch strip, I'm using the OSB that we still had left over. It's a 2-inch by 4-foot strip of OSB. It's going to go in here, and then this whole piece is going to go back up in the ceiling. What that's going to allow me to do is screw stuff to that, like the headliner. The headliner is going to be able to, this is what we're going to use for the headliner. It's actually some pretty nice heavy blanket. It's like a carpenter's blanket. You wrap wood in it and all kinds of stuff. Super nice. Anyway, this is going to be our headliner, but in order to secure it to the ceiling, we need something to screw it to. So that is why I'm using the 2-inch by 4-foot strip of OSB, so we can actually screw the headliner in. So that is the next step for the van.
2 hours later.
There. That's so cool. Alright. Okay, so we're in the van. I am still working on it. As you can see, the headliner is in. some of the headliner is in. I'm still working on the back end of the van, so I figured I'd get a little clip of that. Essentially all this is blanket, and I've screwed it into the frame of the van so that we have a headliner. It'll also insulate the inside of the van. So I just wanted a little clip of what we're doing as far as the process goes.
So right here, all I'm doing is cutting off the excess length of the blanket. I'm not going to need it, so I'm going to cut it all off, and then I'm going to fold that edge over and screw it into the lip of the van.
All right, my headliner is in. I may do a few adjustments here and there, but she's in. That is awesome, dude. That is so sick. That's so sick. I'm also going to show you guys how I ran my power. I actually did that today too. So down here is a cable. I don't know how well you can see it. Bring you in closer. Move all this out of the way. Okay. Down here is our cable, our main line. This is run underneath the van and right over to our alternator. So it's going to provide power to our battery directly from the alternator, which is sweet. So we'll follow that line over here, all the way down the van. This is all going to be encased in a wall, so I'm not too worried about it being here. So it runs all the way back to our power bank. This is where our power supply is going to be for the auxiliary of the van. Essentially, the rest of the van is going to be powered by this thing right here. That's pretty much where we're at as far as the van build goes. So, with that being said, thank you for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Again, subscribe if you're enjoying the van life build and the van life content in general. Subscribing is the best way to support me right now. And yeah, with that being said, stay awesome, stay safe, and rock on, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.